To Russia, they're Ukraine's most powerful weapons. To the rest of the world, they are heavy artillery missiles with the accuracy of a sniper. These are the American GMLRS missiles, and they've just arrived in Ukraine. Batch after batch, the United States has loaded Ukraine with them to repel the Russian forces in a conflict that is no longer Ukraine's fight alone, but a long line of other nations fighting indirectly by loading Ukraine with essential supplies. Supporting Ukraine does mean standing against Russia, though, and now the nations on Ukraine's side could be in danger of an invasion themselves, particularly Poland and Finland, which both share borders with Russia. To keep the Russian forces far away from their borders, these two nations are arming themselves with the same weapon that Ukraine has been gifted by the US, the GMLRS missiles. If anything, this is a testament to just how crucial this weapon is in dealing with threats. Recognizing that with great power and demand comes great responsibility, the U.S. has now awarded a contract worth $476.8 million to Lockheed Martin in a bid to handle supply shortages and feed allies with enough GMLRS missiles and launchers, according to the latest news. On Friday, October 21, 2022, it was announced that the U.S. Army had contracted Lockheed Martin to build M270A2 multiple launch rocket systems, MRLS for short, in a contract worth $476.8 million. This M270A2 MLRS is an upgraded variant of the original M270 MLRS artillery launcher that fires a wide range of precision missiles, including the MLRS, Attackums, Precision Strike Missile, and the brand new extended-range GMLRS missiles, which boast double the range of its predecessors. The contract for these launchers came after a surge in military spending by allies, particularly those in close proximity to Russia, such as Poland and Finland, two countries that have backed Ukraine since the start of the Russian aggression. Polish Defense Minister Mariusz Błaszczak attested to this publicly, confirming that the surge in spending in Poland was triggered by the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and that the Polish army must be able to independently defend and deter enemies based on its own defensive potential. To maximize this defensive potential, Poland has arranged the purchase of 6 additional Patriot missile air defense system batteries, multiple short-range surface-to-air missile systems, $4.74 billion worth of heavy U.S. battle vehicles including Abrams tanks, and about 500 M142 high-mobility artillery rocket systems, or HIMARS. The HIMARS is the main artillery launcher that's being used by Ukraine against Russia, armed with the GMLRS missiles, although there have been arguments on whether or not the more lethal Attackums should also be sent to Ukraine. More on these in a minute or two. For now, back to Poland and Finland. As Poland fortifies its army, so does Finland. The government of Finland made a request to purchase up to 400 GMLRS warheads worth $535 million. This request was recently granted by the U.S. State Department because, well, it is general knowledge at this point that it is only possible to take on Russia with lethal, unstoppable, heavy artillery like the GMLRS missiles. The GMLRS missiles are currently up there as the poster child for American persistent, responsive, all-weather, rapidly deployable, long-range, surface-to-surface precision strike capability. In fact, the missiles are so accurate that they've earned the nickname of the 70-kilometer sniper rifle and earned a reliability rating exceeding 98%. The GMLRS owes this precision to the GPS-aided guidance added to an internal navigation system, which combines to guide the GMLRS on its path to its target to deliver the destruction that comes with a 200-pound high-explosive unitary warhead. This warhead also contains an additional 51 pounds of PBX-109 high-explosive in a steel blast fragmentation case to spit 182,000 preformed tungsten fragments, resulting in increased lethality against personnel and light armored vehicles. Still, the weapon continues to be upgraded to be more lethal and have a farther range. These upgrades have resulted in the development of 3 different variants of the missile: the GMLRS Unitary, GMLRS Alternative Warhead, and the latest extended-range GMLRS. The GMLRS Unitary and GMLRS Alternative Warhead are similar in almost every way, but while the GMLRS Unitary integrates a 200-pound unitary warhead, The GMLRS alternative warhead wields a 200-pound class fragmentation warhead. The third variant, the Extended Range GMLRS, is a new developmental variant that offers an extended range of up to 93 miles in all weather conditions. It also incorporates a larger motor and has enhanced maneuverability due to tail-driven control. All three GMLRS variants maintain a significant level of commonality and can all be deployed by either the M142 HIMARS or the larger M270 MLRS. The HIMARS can load up to 6 GMLRS rockets at a time. This configuration has been seen repeatedly in Ukraine as the US continues to send the HIMARS in batches of 4 to Ukraine. After 5 batches, Ukraine has now been supplied 20 HIMARS by the US, and they've gotten straight to work. In fact, by the second batch, when Ukraine had 8 HIMARS, they were able to bombard the Russian forces with enough GMLRS missiles to destroy 30 Russian command stations and ammunition storage facilities. This dramatically reduced the intensity of Russian shelling and slowed their advance in eastern Ukraine. Recognizing the lethality of the HIMARS and the fact that they would only keep coming, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu ordered his forces to prioritize destroying them, although that quest was unlikely to succeed from the start, because the HIMARS is based on the new 5-ton highly mobile and rugged family of medium tactical vehicles of the U.S. Army. This means that it's powered by a 290-horsepower Caterpillar 3115 AT-AAC 6.6-liter diesel engine to give the 3 crewed HIMARS a maximum operational range of 300 miles and a top speed of 53 miles per hour. The HIMARS simply could not be cornered, and thus could have its crew take shots, then sprint off to another vantage point fast enough for the Russian forces to be doing more playing a game of hide-and-seek than firing at their opposition. All these capabilities and more give the HIMARS a heavy unit cost of $3.8 million, making it more costly than the $2.3 million MLRS, despite the MLRS having 200% more firepower capability. However, the MLRS is also significantly older, having come into service in 1983, 27 years before the HIMARS did in 2010. The technological advancements in those almost 3 decades have come in handy to give the HIMARS an edge. The MLRS still remains a formidable force on the battlefield, though. 3 units have been sent to Ukraine by the UK since the start of the war. Derived from the M2 Bradley Mechanized Infantry Combat Vehicle, the 6-wheeled truck of the MLRS has a tracked chassis and aluminum armor. The MLRS can fire 12 rockets in salvo fire in under a minute with the added bonus of 7,728 fragmentation bomblets on impact, enough to blanket a 0.39 square mile area with submunitions. And even worse for the enemy, a typical MLRS cluster salvo consisted of 3 MLRS vehicles each firing all 12 rockets. With all its heavy artillery and armor, the MLRS remains as mobile as Ukraine would like. The system is powered by a 600-horsepower Cummins VTA 903 diesel engine that thrusts it to a top speed of 40 miles per hour and a maximum operational range of 300 miles. The A2 version, which Lockheed Martin has just been contracted to build, will feature a new engine, transmission, launcher loader modules, improved armored cabs, and the Common Fire Control System, which will also be fitted on the HIMARS to enable the efficient firing of the Extended Range GMLRS munition. Like the HIMARS, the M270 MLRS has a crew of 3. It also uses the same firing pods as the HIMARS, meaning that oppositions would always have to be worried of a barrage of heavy GMLRS missiles, or worse, a strike from the surface-to-surface nuclear-capable Attackums missile that's so powerful it deserves its own section. Calling the Attackums a big brother to the GMLRS doesn't do it justice. It's so much more than that. Armed with a WDU-18 500-pound class blast fragmentation warhead, the Attackums is a long-range guided missile that gives operational commanders immediate firepower to win the deep battle. Its guidance system is a GPS that guides the missile to targets up to 186 miles away, while flying at a top speed of Mach 3. With such a high operational range, firing the Attackums from the MLRS or the HIMARS would enable Ukrainian forces to strike deep into Russia. But that would only escalate the war. The US has claimed that it doesn't want escalation, and so has prioritized sending not the Attackums missile, but the smaller GMLRS missiles instead. The cost of firing a single Attackums missile is a whopping $1 million, at least 6 times more than the $160,000 unit cost of the GMLRS. The Attackums has been very successful in previous wars, particularly in Operation Desert Storm in the 1990s. Now it's time for the GMLRS to make a name for itself in Ukraine and earn a spot in the Missile Hall of Fame, as the Attackums has done. The GMLRS is definitely on its way to this Hall of Fame status, as in no small part, it is responsible for the over 1,000 Russian tanks that now line Ukrainian roads, ruined and with significantly fewer parts than they arrived in Ukraine with. And accordingly, they'll get even more lethal if you subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. That would be all for this video. Thanks for watching.